What is up, everybody? It is the mailman, Jimmy Milstead, the commissioner of the League Fantasy Hockey, and it is a new hockey season. 2024-2025 is getting underway. Hockey drafts are being completed all over the planet. Training camps are in full swing, um, and we're ready to get back at it. Uh, Joining me on episode 1 of the Storksdesk here of the League Fantasy Hockey. We're here to talk NHL predictions here on this Sunday night, September the 29th. Man, it's fall. It's a beautiful out here in the Northwest. Joining me tonight are two of the brass. First of all, the guy that's we're named in the show after, Storksdesk, Kevin Stork from Maple Ridge, BC.
Yeah, good man, good man.
How's it going, brother? We got
I'm good,
the deputy
man.
Kevin Stork, and in Minnesota, I always forget the town Nick's in.
Andover, baby.
Andover. I was gonna say Edina, but that's for the rich. Well, I mean, you're
those are the cake eaters.
Yeah, but Nick Reedy, the Colonel, is joining us again. Colonel, I hope you're feeling better. You were down with the count. We were gonna do this a couple days ago, but it's good to see you too.
Yeah,
Welcome.
thank you. Yeah,
So,
I'm feeling much better.
So we always start off with Kevin Stork on the Storksdesk because it is his show. I can't get it out tonight, guys.
He's got some preseason jitters.
Preseason
we haven't
jitters.
seen each other for 6 months, waiting for hockey to come back. Jimmy, it's okay.
So we'll hand it over to Kevin Stork real quick. We had an epic Stanley. We're going to talk about the NHL and our league predictions. We got Don Cherry slides to show, but let's put a real quick recap on last year's season. We had the Edmonton Oilers almost do the unthinkable against the Florida Panthers. The Ice Cats down there in FLA end up lifting Lord Stanley Cup. Sasha Barkov, the man to do so. They capture their first ever Stanley Cup in an epic Stanley Cup finals. We never really tied a bow last year. What'd you think of last year's finals? The Edmonton Oilers were down 3-0, almost came back to do the unthinkable. Connor McDavid and company just fall short. Stork, what'd you think of the Florida Panthers?
Well, I mean, we all were thinking this was going to be a sweep, and it was all over. Florida was going to walk away with it, but the Oilers showed that they weren't a quitting team. They went back for game 4, 5, and 6, and almost took it to the 7th game and won it, which would have been crazy because that does, as you know, it doesn't happen very often. But it ended up being a terrific finals, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, Connor McDavid ended up getting that Conn Smythe on a losing franchise. Didn't come out to receive it, but they're having a Amazon special. They're going to be showing a lot of superstars. You're going to get an behind the scenes take. Nick, that's going to be like October 4th or something coming up. Are you going to watch that? What did you think of the finals last year?
Well, I think it's incredible, and I think the Oilers with their drought, they have that taste now. They know they can come back. They know they can compete with anybody. They were in the final. It looked to them being another strong team. Now, unfortunately, once we get to the predictions, you'll see where I have them falling. But what one hell of a series. On the new show coming out, I just want to throw a plug that there was no respect for the state of hockey on that show, so I probably won't be watching it. No, I'm just kidding. I'll watch it. It looks good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. There's so much going on to watch, but we've got fantasy hockey to start. As far as our league, once again, we got to send a shout out to DB Cooper, Mark Raymond, 2-time champion. I don't know if you can see the roster there, but they do it again, guys. Captained by Brady Tkachuk. He ended up winning the MVP of our league in the finals. He ended up beating the Cherry Bombs. Cherry Bombs first year, last year. She kind of ran out of gas there in the finals. Storky, I don't have her roster up, but she had a heck of a season there in the Ovechkin. Just came up short in the finals. But Mark Raymond, a couple of players won the championship twice in our league so far. I believe it was not Nick Robertson, Jason Robertson, and Darnell Nurse. He's a 2-time champ for Stork Cup. So the Stork Cup stays in Portland, Oregon. until this spring, unless he can do a three-peat. What are your thoughts? I know you want to beat this man. You've actually had success against him. Others have not. But Mark Raymond behind me, congratulations. We never really gave him a shout out last year. We probably left some of our YouTube watchers hanging. But Mark Raymond wins it again in stunning fashion. Stork, what do you think of DB Cooper's run last year?
I mean, yeah, you got to tip your hat off to him. He did the unthinkable. I didn't think he was going to win 2 in a row, but wow. But I'll tell you what, the Cherry Bombs, if you look back at our predictions last season before it started, I warned you about the Cherry Bombs, that they were going to be a good team and they were going to make the playoffs and they were going to make some noise. And, she did a great job for her team. And, yeah, Mark showed why he was the champion, and he's going to take it to a third season. And I don't see that happening again, because there's a lot of good teams out there that are going to be hungry to dethrone him.
Nick, you're in the same division as Mark. We had our draft, seems like a year ago, but it was September 8th, a few weeks back. You look like you're going to have a great team to. You haven't had a lot of success against Mark, but I know you. I think you've beaten him before. What did you think of Mark Raymond's second Stork Cup championship?
Well, I think he did awesome, and congratulations, hats off to him. And I see that you have a Frozen Norseman up there on his Champions League, so you can go ahead and just keep Krill up there as my captain. He'll stay on that slide next year when I'm hoisting the cup.
Yeah.
But no, he's got a phenomenal team. He always drafts well, and where Mark, makes his money is in free agency and on the waiver wire. Every week he's just on top of it, and it's just hard to keep players, out of his pocket. He's very smart with those 5 picks a week, and he makes them count. So yeah, hats off to you, Mark. You did a phenomenal job last year.
Yeah, just going over some of his names here. If I can bring up his slide here once again. DB Cooper ended up being 18-4-1, captained by Brady Tkachuk. He also had Sebastian Aho on that team. Vincent Trocheck was a big guy down the middle. I tried to nab him in the draft. He was an epic player for Mark. Chris Kreider, another Ranger. Adrian Kempe. Joe Pavelski just retired this year, guys. It was good to see him at least get some hardware in fantasy, even though he couldn't get a Stanley Cup. What a heck of a career that guy had. Darnell Nurse, like we said, has won the Stork Cup twice. Mackenzie Weegar, Jason Robertson got his second Stork Cup. Nick Suzuki, Joel Eriksson Ek, Nick, he's got his name on the cup. Elias Lindholm, now a Bruin. I think Mark had him maybe in year 1 a little bit before. I can't remember, but definitely got his name on the cup year 2. Blake Coleman, Connor McMichael, the Washington Capital, Alex Petrangelo, Connor Garland, Ilya Samsonov, and Stu Skinner. Stu Skinner, kind of, and the Oilers, they had that rough start last year, and we all kind of mocked Mark last year in his draft. We kind of mocked him this year, and he made us pay. Like you said, Nick, he's a great picking up guys. What are you thinking of Stu Skinner this year? Is he the goalie for Edmonton to get them back to the dance?
Well, if they want to go back and be a top contending team, they're going to need Skinner to have another great season. And like you said earlier, the Oilers did not come out of the gate very well, and there was a lot of sad Oiler fans out there thinking, "Oh my God, another downtrodden season for them." But they turned it all around. McDavid put them on their back and just rode a wave all the way to the 7th game in the finals. So when you have a team with Connor McDavid in it, anything can happen, because that guy is, a once in a lifetime kind of player. He's a Gretzky, he's a Lemieux, he's a little bit of everything. He's probably going to go down as one of the best hockey players to ever play in the NHL.
So that was last year. I'll hand it over to Nick here in a minute, but this is the first year, guys, that we've had keepers, and Connor McDavid obviously going to be kept by the Cherry Bombs. He's looking for his first Stork Cup, but Cherry Bombs keep Connor McDavid. Nick ended up keeping his captain, Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov. Stork ended up keeping Austin Matthews, a no-brainer, and yours truly, obviously, wholesome Cale Makar. Nick? What are you thinking? Are you excited about your keeper? Do you think we'll end up getting more? Well, I mean, we'll decide that amongst the league, but it's a fresh season, a fresh start, and once again, congrats to Mark. But it's a new season, and Don Cherry. Oh no, I brought up the wrong slide. That was last year's playoffs final score. For the as we put a bow on it, Cherry Bomb's just fallen short. But Nick, what are you thinking? The Thrill and the Wild. We'll let you talk about your Wild here real quick as we transition into the new season.
Well, I will say that the coaching staff for the Minnesota Wild finally heard the fans screaming and yelling, and now on the top line, Matt Zuccarello is reunited with Kirill the Thrill as on the top line, centered by none other than Matthew Boldy. So I think we're going to be very, very competitive. I'm excited. I think that Thrill is going to be, for the first half of the season, he was hurt. He was still coming off of that, back injury where, he kind of did the splits and got landed on top of by a horrible skater who shouldn't be on the ice ever again. But that's for, another segment. But I think that watching preseason this year, watching some of the training camp, he's sharp. He's ready to play. And I think coming into this is his fourth year, I think, third full year, that he's ready to take that spot as, that head guy now. So, no, I'm excited to watch. It's looking great.
And, as we're diving into the new season, Stork, as you see behind me, Don Cherry has chimed in. He was 70 and 63 last year, guys. Last year we had predictions in the league, fantasy hockey, and I failed to keep up at the end. But this year we're definitely going to keep that straight. But we just had our draft, guys, early in the month, September 8th. And Don Cherry has studied all the rosters, guys. I don't know if you can see the slide behind me, but in full.
I can see it.
What are you thinking, Nick? We'll go to Stork this time. But Stork, he does have you making the playoffs. As the third place.
Thanks.
But he is really high on Frozen Norseman Nick Reedy's squad. Nick is yet to make the playoffs. Stork's going to be hungry. We'll go to Stork real quick. You barely missed the playoffs on controversial playoff tiebreakers to Julio and his Huma squad. You're definitely hungry, buddy. How are you feeling about your draft this year?
I'm quite pleased with my team this year. And I think they are a playoff team. I thought they were last year too, but I don't want to even talk about that anymore because it just makes me grind my teeth thinking about it. But Huma, just as much as I did, deserved to make the playoffs, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But and with Nick, you'll see that I predicted him to make the playoffs this year. I don't know if he's gonna finish first overall in the division, but he's definitely going to be a playoff contender because he had a good draft, and he's got a solid foundation with Kipper in there and solid team, and I think he's going to be a playoff team for sure.
Yeah, Nick, we won't go over everybody's rosters, but Don Cherry specifically picked you to win this year's championship. After the past 2 years, he's always picked DuPont pipe players, Tim Kelly, who I think might make a run in at some point during the show, guys. If not, we'll get with Tim later on in the season. But Nick, you were able to draft Jack Hughes to play along your keeper Kaprizov. Also, Robert Thomas. He's a low-key player for the St. Louis Blues who gets it done. You ended up getting Storky's Mitch Marner. You got some gunslingers, Brock Besser, Victor Hedman, and Gustav Forsling on the blue line. Gustav Forsling is a great fantasy defenseman. He puts up production. You got a guy like a Mark Scheifele, a Matt Duchene, Claude Giroux. You're strong down the middle. I think where he likes it, though, is you got the goaltenders, buddy. Young Jesper Wallstedt, but he'll be backing up most nights to Igor Shesterkin. Why don't you show off your team, or talk about your team, Nick? Don Cherry likes you to win this year's Stork Cup. No pressure, buddy.
No, I'm excited. We took the first couple of years learning, seeing how everybody plays, taking the long pull on it. Last year we had a pretty good run, but towards the end when we knew that there was no playoffs in our future, we said, "Hey, let's all get together." We made, some moves, picked up some draft picks and said, "Hey, let's build for tomorrow and the future." So, we're going to do our best. We try as long as everybody stays healthy. I think not only do we have a good team, but we have a very competitive team. So we'll see what happens.
And then what Don predicts, he has Dan Hull, who missed the playoffs. He had a rough season last year, but the Killer Bunnies, it was his first year as well. Tough spot for him. He ended up in the lottery draw getting the ball number 6. So Alex ended up getting that number 1 pick. So that's how she ended up with Connor McDavid. But Dan, no slouch. He ended up with Matt Tkachuk, Stanley Cup champ Matt Tkachuk, and he ended up keeping him as well. But Don likes Dan Hall's team a lot as well, Stork. You know Dan Hall very well in other leagues. Let's talk about the Killer Bunnies being in the finals.
The Killer
Supposedly.
Bunnies was another team that I predicted to make the playoffs this year. I know Dan did not like what happened last season, but it was a learning curve, a new league. He's never played in the Yahoo League, so it takes a season or so to get used to the new stats and strategies for this kind of league. He's been playing in ESPN, which is a totally different league, and he picked he had a wonderful draft. If you look at his draft picks, he did quite well. He picked a good balanced team, and that's why I think he's going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, old Donnie Boy was telling me on the phone. He loves UC Soros. I think Nashville's going to be a really big team this year. They acquired a lot of those offseason big name free agents. Steve Stamkos, no longer a Lightning. That is insane. He is going to be wearing that mustard yellow in Nashville. That's going to be an electric barn this year, boys. Andrei Vasilevsky as his backup. Basically, that's just no slouch right there. He's got a good 1-2 punch in net. Just pretty sick. Pat Kane, I think he's going to have a great year with the Detroit. He re-upped 1 year, guys, in Detroit. An older Pat Kane, but a guy that can still put up production. Yeah. As we said, he ended up getting Willie Nylander. I think that ended up being his first pick after his keeper. I think it's going to be a big year for Alexei Lafreniere. He started to show signs in that playoff, Stork, for the New York Rangers. I know you're high on the New York Rangers. And then you had Travis Konechny last year, Stork. The Philadelphia Flyers, in my NHL predictions, I think I have them out. In fact, I know I do. But I think the more I'm watching them in preseason, I think Torts is going to be really close there for a playoff spot. Oh, and he's the one that ended up with Vinny Trocheck this year. Mark Raymond did not get Trocheck back. So those are some of the players on Dan Hall's team, Storky. Any thoughts on those players?
No, I mean, he's, like I said, he's got a lot of good balance there. He's got solid goaltending. He's strong up the middle. He's got some good wingers. He's gonna be a much different team to play against in the 24-25 season. That's for sure. A lot of teams might be caught napping when they play him, thinking, "Oh, it's just the Killer Bunnies. It's easy victory." But that's not going to happen this year. You better watch out when you're playing the Bunnies.
So it was almost like a 3-hour draft. We have all that coverage on YouTube. If you ever want to look back at our draft on September 8th.
We had some fun. We were taking our time.
Yeah.
And it was a good time.
We'll go over all different teams' rosters throughout the season. But here is Don Cherry's preseason rankings, as we said, as we start the season off. If you look behind over my shoulder, for the first time ever, Nick Greedy comes in preseason poll number 1. Killer Bunnies at 2. The Wendigo made the playoffs both years, guys. He had a strong draft, and he was the only player or only manager that auto drafted. He had a football game that weekend and didn't make it because of the film studies this team does. Waylon, though, a pretty good auto drafter. I think he's done that before. We'll go over his team another time, but he is always a thorn in our sides. Langley, you come in at 4, not too bad. Probert, who had the fantastic start last year, Nick. Then he just kind of sank.
Yeah, he just kind of declined.
He fizzled in the last 7 games for sure.
Injuries, though, to Jack Hughes was a big because Dave had Jack Hughes last year. Though that team starts this Friday overseas against Buffalo. So we got the Woody Woodpeckers. Stork, you might differ on this one because he gave up a lot of draft picks, and he had a late start in our draft. But Don Cherry liked the way Woody Woodpeckers drafted, and he's still got some free agent moves he's made. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys think of that team. We'll go over Mark's team another date. Huma, a bubble fringe team. I think Huma's going to be right there. Myself. We got the Nova. Actually, they're called the
Injured Reserve.
Injured Reserve now. All our best out to Scott. If you didn't catch our draft, he was laid up drafting. Messed up his his legs there. But he's on the mend, guys. I hear he's doing quite well. The Cherry Bombs slip, according to Don, even with Connor McDavid. I thought she had a pretty decent draft. I forget a lot of her players. I'll go over her roster at some date, but she's got to be disappointed in that ranking. The defending champs, I think he was somewhere around here last time, and Don didn't have him as a playoff team last year either. But look at the 2-time champs down at 10. DuPont at 11. Don was done picking him. And then old Adna Americans. I like my team, to tell you the truth, as Commish. A lot of young stars on this Adna American team, captained by Cale McCarr once again. But it's going to be a prove it season. Hopefully the youth can carry us. But Don likes more veteran presence, and he has Adna finishing as the tuna this year and paying for the trophy. So, guys, thoughts on Don Cherry's preseason rankings? Anything strike? We'll go to Nick. Anything? I know you always think Don's drinking too much.
Well, you could tell. So he was probably sober when you guys started talking, started at the top. Finally gives me the roses I deserve. And then he hit about the 5th pick and everything just went south. You could tell it was either a couple doubles or if he was, took a break. Did you guys have dinner in between the phone call? Did he, was it a 12-hour phone call? I don't know. But the fact that he put Cherry Bombs at 9 after her power ranked draft was above the Frozen Norseman, myself, and team members just shows how out of touch he is. And, I think maybe it's time he hangs up his skates, his whiskey glasses, and probably just fades into the sunset when it comes to talking hockey, because, there's a wealth of knowledge back there, but it's pretty muddled, and I'm pretty sure his liver's telling him it's time. So,
He's almost looking like Biden, I think.
Yeah. So, you know what?
I'm gonna have
the NHL.
Yeah. So, Don, I appreciate that you giving me my roses. I wish that, you the best, but that pick on putting the Cherry Bombs in even the Adna Americans and the defending champs so low. I mean, I get it. You got to put somebody down there, but come on, buddy.
Well, Stork, I mean, that's the beauty of this league. It's very good parity, just like in many of our fantasy leagues that we are all a part of. But this particular league, always fierce and competitive. I mean, there's some tough seasons for a couple teams last year, but on any given night, it's been a tough. It's really competitive, and that's what makes this league so special. So, Stork, I know you're chomping at the bit to get things going. Anything you saying that just you can't? It's just I know you're sick of Don Cherry too, but we have our great conversations every week.
Well, I think there's a lot of KY jelly going on as far as Nick's pick there is. But I did pick Nick to be a playoff team. I didn't think he'd be in first. Now let's talk about the defending champions. I picked them to miss the playoffs this year. If you look at my predictions, you'll see that I agree with Don on that one.
Timestamp.
I don't know about. I mean, they may not finish as high as 10th, but I don't see them in the playoffs. If you look at their roster, it's not as strong as it's been in the past. all in all, and a lot of other teams have much nicer rosters, including Nick here. He's got a good balanced team himself. The Bunnies, not so sure about Washington, but I do have them on the bubble, I believe. I haven't got my picks in front of me. I'm just going by memory. And surprisingly enough, at the start of before we did the draft, I said the Woodpeckers were going to pay dearly for all those picks they gave up. But when I started looking over all the teams and doing my own analysis, I seen them to be a bubble team. I picked them around sixth place, so that I agree with that one too. Huma, I think I have around that area. I do have DuPont finishing at the bottom, I believe. We'll have to look at my predictions, but there's a few I agree with. I think I'm not gonna be a top-notch team, but I think I'm gonna be right up there, and I should challenge for a division title. That's where I strive to do every year, is try to win that division title first. But yeah, it's gonna a lot of parity in this league. A lot of bad teams are gonna make surprising starts this year, so it's gonna be a fun league, and I can't wait. 5 days away from the first puck drop, and it's going to be another fun year.
Yeah, well, once again, guys, the top 6 teams make it to the playoffs. The rest go to the consolation round, and so the first two, or the division winners, get automatic buys for the Ovechkin and Gretzky once again. So if this list was to be correct, it'd be a first playoff appearance once again for Nick. He's hungry, and Killer Bunnies only their second year in the league. Well, this is only the third year in the league, but it would be their first to get in. A lot of teams looking for their first appearance in the playoffs. So that is what Don Cherry is thinking. We'll all be prognosticating against him during the season. So that's what we got for league action. Do you guys want to transition to the NHL? I'm not sure how you guys want to do it. We all have turned in our preseason picks. I liked how we did over unders last year. We can just select a couple players. Like, well, I'll just bring this up as I transition. I'll go to Stork, Nick. I think Vegas has Austin Matthews odds over under. I want to say it's 55.5 goals. That's an easy over, wouldn't you think? I could be wrong.
Well, yeah, he should. If he stays healthy, 55 is a very realistic number. I don't know if it's. Obviously, if he has a healthy season, he could still hit 65, 70 goals. But that's going to depend on the new system that the coaching is going to be all different. The style is going to be different, but I think they're going to let Austin be Austin. So I don't know. I think 55 is quite a realistic number for him.
Nick, what are you thinking of Austin? He belongs to Kevin Stork. I think if he stays healthy, he's definitely over it. I would like to think if he really, because he scores his goals in massive bunches.
Yeah.
Do you think he could ever flirt with 80? Or is that just too high?
I think that's too high, and I think with the other players on the team, it's hard to, single
not in today's NHL, no.
We don't have times of Lemieux and Gretzky's who can put up, goal after goal after goal after goal. So I don't think so. I do think it's over, and I'll stick with the over. I think about 62, 63, somewhere in that vicinity is pretty common, and probably 40 to 50 assists. So I have him over 110 points total for the year, but we'll see.
That's realistic, yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Phenom, guys. I was able to pull his young gun the other day. God, I can't do this with it. Well, you can see him right there. Connor Bedard. I got the Connor Bedard young gun.
That was a nice pull, man.
He hopefully he has a fully healthy season. Last year he dealt with a broken jaw when he got hit against New Jersey. I think he could have hit that. Nick ended up being right. I think our over under last year was like 70 points, I thought, or something like that. I think he ended up with 60 something. That's not bad. I mean, he was a tremendous on a bad defensive team. The Blackhawks added some free agents here and there to play with him. Nick Foligno, Marcus's brother, has ended up being the captain. So Bedard's going to hold off on being the captain so far. But Stork, I remember in your predictions, you're kind of high on the Blackhawks improving. But let's talk about Bedard real quick. What do you say? What do you guys want to talk? Goals and points, or how many points do you think Bedard gets this year? What are we going to go
I think
over,
he's
under?
gonna flirt with 100.
Okay.
He's got much better team around him this year. He's got some guys that can help him, progress as a young star. He's got a year behind him now. He knows what it's like to be in the NHL. And as you know, this guy's got tons of talent. And if you put some better players around him, he might just shine this year. So seeing him get, say, 40 goals is not unrealistic for him. I think he's going to flirt with 100 points, so for sure. I have no doubt that as long as he stays healthy and the rest of his team that, is crucial for him to develop as a hockey player, I think the Hawks are going to be a surprising team this year.
Nick, how many points you got Bedard at?
Well, let's start with first off, Brock Faber won the Calder Trophy. I don't care what was said. I hate when these players, and it's no knock on, Connor Bedard, because he's a great young player, but I hate when players are crowned before they're even drafted. And that was pretty sad to see. But I'm thinking 103 points.
Okay. I think he's definitely a 100-point player. I'm going to just say he's going to be around 95. I want to see him play 82. I think he can. He's definitely an in-shape hockey player, and I think he can get it done. I'm trying to find out whose slide I got up here. Can anybody see that?
You got Storks slide up.
Sorry, guys.
Mine? No, that's mine.
Changing backgrounds here is kind of a pain in the butt because I can't see the full slide on my end. But yeah, I'm going to say he's definitely a 100-point player, but I'm going to say he gets 95 this year. I think he can flirt with 40 goals, 50 assists, something like that. Definitely gonna could be a fun player to watch, and he's one of my go-tos. Blackhawks are up and coming again, and it should be a fun watch. Is there another player you guys can think of that we should be talking about off the bat here? Connor McDavid. Why did I leave him off? I don't know what the over/under totals are for him. I think right now in his career, the only thing he cares about is getting that Stanley Cup, right, guys?
We don't have to talk about Connor McJesus. We know he's going to put up numbers. He's probably going to have 120 points or more. I mean, it's kind of foregone conclusion. But there is one player I want to talk about, and it's a great, pick. Will Alex Ovechkin get the goals championship this year? Will he surpass the great one as most goals ever in a career? And I think, Jimmy, I'm going to pass it on to you because that is, someone you've been watching since he was drafted and has played for your Capitals forever.
Well, thanks.
So
I'm glad you brought that up, Nick, because I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this Washington Capitals team. They snuck into the playoffs last year a lot, much to the dismay of a lot of the hockey world. They wanted to see the Wings or the Penguins get in. This team actually fought really hard. I love the coach Spencer Carberry. A lot of us talked about this during the draft that we had. I know Mark Raymond chimed in. A lot of people think he's going to fall short. I ended up saying he's going to do it, but it's all going to depend on that start, guys. Last year, obviously, he started out the gates tremendously slow. And then once the All-Star, or right before the All-Star break, I remember they had a game in Dallas. I think he got some excitement into him. We lost that game pretty bad, but he looked pretty dang good. And then he had some rest during the break because he didn't go to Toronto, right? Yeah, he didn't go to that All-Star game. He had a nice vacation with his family in Dubai. Yeah, that's where he went. And he came back raring to go, and he was a big reason they made the playoffs down the stretch. So if he can start out of the gates, I got him. He needs how many goals? 43? 42. I should know this. My bobblehead's
42 to tie, I believe.
42.
42. He's 43 to surpass.
Yeah. He scored a goal the other night in preseason. This guy, as you've seen, he can just stand there on the power play and collect as many goals as he can. I mean, it's just no way to stop him. He's got that elite shot. If he gets that start, guys, I got him breaking the great ones this year. I know Mark Raymond says he'll be in the 30s and he'll come back next year to finish it off. Obviously, he's got the 2-year contract. So I definitely know he's going to do it. Whether or not it's this year, he's got to come out of the gates slinging. And I think the Caps are going to come out of the gates slinging. He hasn't been a selfish player either, guys. He likes to pass that puck. But with the Gretzky chase, you got to think he's going to be hungry for it. And I think they're going to get it to him. So I'll say yes, he does do it. Stork?
How many times have we seen Ovi score 42 goals in a season? A dozen or something like that. Who's going to doubt that he can't do it this year? As you said, slow start last year. A lot of people were starting to write him off, that his legs were gone. And they were starting to doubt whether he could even break the record at all. But as long as his teammates don't overfeed him the puck this year, because they got to think about the first goal, and the first goal is to play well and make the playoffs, not to give Ovi his thing. So they don't want a lot of distractions. But like you just said, if Ovi gets off to a decent start, he'll definitely do it this year.
Right on.
He's an animal. He always has been. So,
Nick, did you already give us what you thought? I can't remember of Ovi.
Nope. I just wanted to pass it to you. I think he does not get it this year.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be either he's really close or really short. That's what I think is gonna happen.
And the only reason I say that is pretty self-serving, because I have a feeling if he does get it, he's going to retire. So if we can get Ovechkin for another year, I know Sid just signed for 2 more years with the Penguins. I'm not ready to let that rivalry die quite yet, because it changed hockey for the better. So I really don't want him to get it this year, and I don't think he's going to. Like you said, you can stand on the top of the circle on the power play and literally just stand there and wait for the puck, and he'll get it every time. But I think teams nowadays are they're kind of getting onto that. So it's going to be a little bit tougher for him, but I think he falls short just a little bit. But that's no knock on Ovechkin, and I hope I'm wrong. But at the same time, I hope I'm right, so we can see him for another year.
Fair enough. So we'll
you
talk
really
some more.
Think he's going to retire if he gets it this year?
Yeah, I think
you
so.
You think he's going to walk?
I think so.
Well,
when
he said
his contract due, Jimmy?
He's got 2 more years. Just like kind of like Sid this year, next year.
You know what I think? I think they'll both retire at the end of these 2-year terms, and retire together the same year, since they came in the same year. That would be a nice NHL story. 2 of the greatest hockey players that ever lived were rivals for their whole careers, got drafted the same year, and both retired the same year. That would be a good story.
I think it would, but I think the kid's got a different goal in mind, and that's longevity. I think Sid wants to play as long as he absolutely possibly can, and I think that's what he's looking up to. He's still, we saw it last year, he's still super effective. Yeah. The kid can play, and it doesn't look like he's lost too much speed. Obviously he's lost some over time, but he hasn't lost enough to make it, why are you on the ice type of thing. But yeah, I think Sid's going to play until he can't anymore. And I think Ovechkin's smart enough to realize you just broke one of the greatest records of all time. You have nothing else to prove.
Yeah, Sid, he just signed.
And
he took kind of a
on it with him too. So
yeah.
Sid's hungry, obviously to win another cut. He wants to win, guys. It's an aging core there in Pittsburgh, but he took what I say a pay cut, that standard 8.7. He's signed for 2 more years, like he said, that they did just over the summer. So we'll see what Pittsburgh does. We got Stork's slide up right now, guys. I don't know how you guys want to do this, but we'll go over Stork's picks, and then we'll go to Nick's, and then we'll go to mine. But I don't know. You probably can't see the whole slide. We'll put the slides up.
I can see all the teams.
We can see it. I think
Yeah.
it's just you. If you click on your picture and go to full screen, you should be able to see it too. Show full screen instead of show.
See full video.
Yep.
Oh,
click
okay,
on
there
that
we
big
go.
bad boy.
So you can see the whole thing.
Yeah, we can see the whole
all
thing.
the teams.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'll get out of the way a little bit, but Stork, we got your picks up, buddy. You finished pretty well last year. Mark Wood, you get 1 point for each selection you made, and or that you got correct. We got full standings positioning, your playoff teams, and then we have a President's Trophy selection, your Final Four, and then your Stanley Cup Final, and then your Stanley Cup pick. And you, sir, have picked. I'm kind of shocked here, buddy. You did not pick your Leafs.
I did last year, and look what that got me.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your Leafs real quick. Craig Berube, you got to be. I'm excited for I have the Leafs going far, but this is your pick. You got the Rangers against the Stars. I like that pick. That could have been last year. They were both in the Final Four. That's your cup. You can talk anything you want about up here. You can start with your Leafs. You got them in second place. You got Dallas.
I'll start in the Atlantic Division.
Okay.
Florida, they're the team to beat in that division. They're the Stanley Cup champions. They've lost a couple of pieces, but all in all, they're still a solid hockey team, and they're going to be the team to beat in that division. I think the Leafs will be close. I don't think they're going to be winning the bid division, although of course they have a chance. And my only goal is for them to finish ahead of Boston. That's all I care about, right? I see the Bruins tailing a little bit this year, but I had said that last year too, and they didn't tail very much. My surprise pick there is, of course, Detroit, who, again, last season was a team that I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs, but I thought that they were going to challenge for a top 8 in the conference. They kind of fell short quite a bit, but I think this year, especially with Kane coming over there and really stabilizing that team, you look at their roster, they got some good young players on that team. And adding Patrick Kane to it, who's still very productive. And of course, Stevie Y running the show. They got good coaching. They got good defense. Their only suspect area might be goaltending, but that's not a forward. I don't think they don't have a chance because of their goaltending. But if their goaltending stands up, the Wings can make a lot of noise, and they're definitely going to make the playoffs. Tampa Bay, as you can see, is the team that I see like falling. But unfortunately, the rest of that division is just not good enough, I don't think, to even challenge for a playoff spot. And that's Buffalo, the Senators, or Montreal. I don't think any of them are going to be even close to a playoff spot.
God, poor
Tampa
Buffalo.
Bay might be a bit of a bubble team, is what I see. And I think they're going to have to worry about teams like the Islanders, Washington, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh for that last playoff spot. Over in the Metro, of course, I got the Rangers going all the way. I just like their team, although I don't like the Rangers. I'm not a big Ranger fan. But when you look at the team, you can't help but like what they've done in New York. They got a little bit of everything. Panarin, of course, he's an animal, and they just have a really good, solid team. Carolina might fall just a tiny bit, but I think they're still good enough to challenge the Rangers for the division. And also, I think the New Jersey Devils, if they can stay healthy and if Hughes stays healthy, they got Markstrom in net now, which should help them. I think Markstrom is a good goaltender, but he's played on some pretty bad teams. Now that he's on a good team, I think he might just shine in New Jersey. So they could be a team to watch out for. As for the Islanders, the Caps, Philly, and Pittsburgh, I think you can switch that order around a lot, and you might be right because I think all four of those teams are going to be very, very close, and it's going to be a good race because I think one of those four or two of those four teams are going to surpass Tampa Bay and grab one of those last playoff spots because I think, like I said, Tampa Bay's on the bubble, and I think they have to worry about those four teams. And I think two of them are going to shine and surpass them myself. But just to be simple, I put Tampa Bay as the eighth team in that conference. What can I say about Columbus, man? I mean, I'm heartbroken for all of that team. Can you imagine? I mean, like guys like Sean Monahan, who just signed a contract with them, thinking he was going to reunite with his buddy that he played for in Calgary, and for that to happen, it's so sad. And yeah, I think Columbus, a lot of them they'll try to rally and have a good season, but I just don't think they're going to be good enough to challenge for a playoff spot, which is why I picked them last. Although I hope they do really well and
Well, they got a
honor.
good coach. Nick, familiar with Dean Evanson. I think he's going to
Yeah,
get the boys going. I
yeah.
think they.
Like I said, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they win a lot of games just because they're motivated
Yeah.
and they're thinking about their buddy. I have no doubt about that. I think it's going to be an emotional season for them all year, and it might just be a little bit too much for some of the younger guys. But Columbus has, hey, but you look at their lineup, they got some good young talent on that team, and they might go somewhere in the next couple of years. But I think this year is going to be really challenging for them. Over in the Central, I've got, of course, Dallas. I mean, they've got what don't they have? But they got somebody knocking on their door this year, and I don't think it's Colorado. I mean, I'm just going to say that. I think Colorado is going to be a playoff team. They're going to be one of the better teams in the West, but it's the Nashville Predators that everybody better start watching, including Dallas. I think Nashville is going to be a scary team this year. When you add some of the guys that they put on that line on an already good team, and they're going to be scary. Minnesota, they're consistent. I think they're going to be a playoff team too. I picked them last year to finish fourth in that division, and I believe that's exactly where they went. So, I think, is that right, Nick?
Yeah, they
I
finished
think
fifth.
they finished fourth, did they not?
Finished fifth. Winnipeg finished
fifth?
ahead of them.
Oh yeah,
Winnipeg. Right, yeah. All right, Winnipeg. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry about Winnipeg this year. Chicago, they're the team that I think is going to go from the bottom up to a bubble team. And because I didn't pick them to make the playoffs, that doesn't mean I don't think they have a chance because I think the Hawks might just surprise some teams this year. I think they're going to pass Winnipeg in that division. St. Louis, I don't know. I think they're on top. Yeah, I drink. I actually am having a drink. Right?
Would you like Bedard's jockstrap while you're drinking your Kool-Aid too?
No, that's not. It's not just Bedard. It's
I
what
think
they've
they're going to
added
be
in
improved.
Chicago.
They
It's
are
what
definitely
they
going to be
added to play with him.
they're definitely going to be an
They
improved
got
team.
some good pieces, and you better watch out for the Hawks. And when we get up to around Christmas time, and we see the Hawks right up there, you guys are going to be going, "Fuck, Storky was right." Winnipeg and St. Louis, you guys got a problem with me where I put them?
I don't. I think Winnipeg. There's just something always wrong. I mean, this is your prediction
There's
segment,
something
but
always wrong with Winnipeg.
there's something
You're
always wrong. I
absolutely
think.
right.
I think.
That's
I'm not
because
a-
half of the team doesn't want to play in Winnipeg. That's the problem.
Who wants to be in Winnipeg? Period.
Who wants to
I
play
got
in
I got
Winnipeg?
questions on their defense, but I'll let you
Oh yeah,
finish.
definitely. I mean, all they really have is Morrissey, and he's not Makar, and he's not Fox, and he's not Faber. So there you
Yeah.
go.
I am
Utah. I
shocked.
mean, what Utah Hockey Club? I can't
I'm
even
shocked.
put them in the NHL, let alone in a division. Couldn't
Did
they
you?
pick a nickname
That's where
for
I
them?
that's where I
I
kind of
mean, they
differ
pick
from you,
all
Stork.
year, and now it's the Utah Hockey Club. What the hell's that?
I will
Are
tell
we in a
you.
rec league?
I will tell you
I mean,
that
I totally. This makes me want to puke when I see
the
the Utah Hockey Club.
at their
It
you,
seems like a
their
rec league. Oh, the Utah. Oh yeah, we'll call ourselves Utah
I will
Hockey
say
Club. Come on.
I just saw
So
some
they're in
pictures
last.
from their new arena, and I will tell you there are thousands of seats that cannot see the full ice. So I think, and I got Utah right where you got them, Stork, in my predictions when we get to them. So I agree with you, but I
I'm
think
gonna disagree.
it's different.
But go
And
ahead.
don't get me wrong, I loved the Coyotes last year. I told you at the beginning of last year they were an up and coming team and they were going to make some moves. But I think moving to a new city, a new climate, a new fan atmosphere is not going to help them this year. They have no identity yet, and you're going to see that.
They don't even have a nickname yet.
Exactly.
Little. They don't have. How can they get an identity if they don't even have a name? Like Utah. Oh yeah,
Well,
that's nice.
I will say this, guys. Their owner is a good
He's
owner
got a lot of
with the
money,
Utah
I
Jazz.
heard.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's
Loaded,
gonna
right?
he'll get that arena going, and that's gonna be a good market. I think. I have
He
no
couldn't
doubts.
afford a nickname though.
No.
They couldn't get the Utah fans to do a little survey on and vote for a nickname. They couldn't put that together in the 8 months that they've had this team. How
But
long have they had this team?
I
They
will
couldn't
say
do that in 8 months.
I will say now that looking over at the women's professional hockey league, the PWHL, and their inaugural first champs, the
They didn't
Minnesota
have any nicknames either.
Hockey Club, now has a nickname.
Yeah.
Welcome the Minnesota Frost to the women's
Yeah.
hockey league. So you see
Yeah,
Utah,
well,
it's pretty simple.
I didn't really like that either. They want to make I love the idea of a women's hockey league, and I hope it sticks.
It's phenomenal.
But let's get some nicknames so they can form an identity. Oh, Toronto and Montreal and New York, and that's all they've got on their jersey. Toronto, it looks, you know what it looks like? It looks like a table hockey game, and all they have is the name of the city on the. I mean, come on, I can't dig it. I want to see a logo, and I want to see a nickname in the women's hockey league too, for me to take it for real. Because all I see is table hockey guys going on across.
Well, you'll see it this year, Stark.
I hope so, because it bothered me. Okay, so
go
over in the
ahead
Pacific.
and finish up that Pacific there for us.
Yeah, I'm going to finish up the Pacific. I've got the Oilers. As much as I don't really like the Oilers, I think they're the team to beat in that division, and mostly because I think Vegas is going to fall down a notch. I don't think they're as good as they were in the past, but I still think they're good enough to make the playoffs. LA, same thing. I'm not sure what you're going to get in LA. They got some good pieces, but I don't think they're going to beat Edmonton in that division. I think I placed them properly. And the same with the Canucks. I think I placed them properly. I'm not sure whether they're going to make the playoffs, though, because the Hawks might come back and take them out of the playoffs. How do you like that? Seattle.
I'm sorry.
You got
This
a titty?
Seattle. I know I'm going to hurt Tim's feelings, but I thought I'd be nice about it. I put them 5th in the division. Get it back up here, Jimmy.
I'm sorry. Nick's making me laugh. I'm sorry.
On me. Seattle.
No, you're good.
Tim, I'm saying you got a good team. I love their jerseys, but they're not going to make
Brandon Montour. Montour looks good. Brandon Montour.
I like the idea of Montour there. Yes, I agree with that. And Florida's going to miss that guy. I'm telling you right now. But Seattle, they got a chance. I didn't take them out of the no chance area. But the teams underneath there, no chance. Anaheim,
Yeah.
San Jose, Calgary, they're all way down at the bottom, right where Buffalo, Ottawa, and Montreal is. And this team, this hockey club here from Utah. So that's how I see the standings going this year.
Yes, Storky, you got your Leafs and the Rangers. So you have to have some faith there in Berube. Your net miners, Joseph Wall. Who's the backup these days? Sammy's
Stellaris.
in Vegas. Stolars. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
he did a good job in Florida as a backup. So I think this is the
I
most
could have
confident.
done a good job in Florida as a backup.
I mean, we'll go over my picks, after Nick's, but you got Dallas, a rematch with Edmonton, and I totally agree with you there. You got Dallas as the President's Trophy winners. They came this close from getting it last year. The Rangers ended up getting it. They're loaded down there in Dallas. They just need to put it all together. And then you got the Rangers meeting Dallas. That should be an epic Stanley Cup final if it is going to be like that. And then you got the Rangers. So it's all going to fall on the shoulders of Shesterkin, who would have been, had he got to the Stanley Cup Finals, he had a sensational playoff. And Nick
And he
has
would
him.
be key. He would be key for the Rangers
Yeah.
if they're going to win a cup. Their
So
goaltending has to be there. They got all the offense they need up front. They've got the defense they need. If he does what he's capable of, the Rangers are going to be a dangerous team. Yes.
So before we go to Nick's, it's kind of an incomplete slide, but I will show
Yeah,
his
let's
here in a
talk
minute.
about that a
But
little.
before we go to Nick's slide, Nick, anything that you think Stork is smoking crack on this slide before we change?
Yeah.
Is there anything that stands out that you think you want to say, Stork, you are smoking? Remember Rob Ford, whatever his name was? Was he the mayor of Toronto, or what was he? Wasn't he smoking crack?
Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah, he
Stork is
was
smoking right now?
actually. Yeah.
Nick, tell me what you think is totally wrong on Stork's board here.
What a respectable mayor to have, eh?
One, Nashville is not making the playoffs this year. I know they've added some good pieces, but that's not
Wow.
going to happen. The Jets, you're going to see a resurgence on the Jets this year
Wow.
for two reasons. Is one,
And I smoke crack.
they're good. You just mark my words. So, why you always think the Atlantic is going to send so many teams to the playoffs astounds me when the Metro is still sitting there. I actually, you know what, Jimmy, just bring up my incomplete slide because you know how I picked my picks. I'll tell
Bring it
you,
up. Let's look at it.
and you'll see the parody because you know I Josh and jokingly told Jimmy that you know I wasn't going to pick the bottom of the leagues because it really doesn't matter. And
I don't know who's this.
that's yours, Jimmy.
Is that yours or
That's
next?
Jimmy's.
Hold on. You can make
That's
fun of mine in a
Jimmy,
bit.
yeah.
I'm having a difficult because you know how when you change the background,
Yeah.
the print's so dang small.
You're all right.
Now it's making me want to upload yours again. So bear with me. Keep talking, Nick.
But so, you know, we went back and forth on the predictions, and I just picked the playoffs teams and the losers because in the end, I don't see in any of the divisions, any of the teams that I haven't picked really being not interchangeable. They all have problems. They all are, you know, either starting, they're young, and they're getting better. But I'm not going to tell you who's going to be the 8th, 6th, 7th, you know, or the 6th, 7th, and whatever picks
but that's
in
kind
each
of
one of
the
them.
reason for our competition. How are you going to win
So-
the competition?
Oh,
You
don't
might
worry.
pick some of those last guys in the
I'm
right
still-
position.
I'm still
and
going
you
to win
get
the
a point for
competition.
Oh my God.
I'm still going to win
Nick,
the competition. But
you know
I'm
what?
going to
I
give them to
never-
you now. I'm going to give them to you now. You never
Okay,
made me a
yeah,
slide.
yeah.
Of course you didn't. So we'll just
I
go over
did,
my
but
pick.
yeah.
Okay. In the Atlantic, in this order, I've got the Florida Panthers repeating and being the top team. It's really hard to bet against the Stanley Cup champs. A lot of their players are coming back. They lost Montour, but you know that was just one piece. They are so well coached down there, and the energy that they play with is phenomenal. Next, I got Toronto. The Leafs are just good, and any team that's you know got Austin Matthews on it is going to be a contender automatically. So, you know, hats off to you, Stork. It's going to be a close race between those two teams, but I think Florida's going to end up pulling it out. The next team I got is Tampa Bay. I think they've parted ways with a couple of key pieces too, but they still have the pedigree and they still have some young players. And I think we're going to be all right in Tampa. Shockingly, I agree with you, Stork. The last playoff team I have coming out of the Atlantic is one of the original 6, the Detroit Red Wings. I think that with DeBrincat and some of those players they got, they are building a great team for now while still looking at the future. So watch out for those Wings because they are, I saw them, in real life at a couple of the games last year, watching the Wild play them, and those guys are fast and they're physical and they have energy and they have drive. So, I agree with you. I think Detroit's going to be, one of those surprise teams. But that's all I got coming out of the Pacific. And I'm just trying to look and see.
Out of the Atlantic, you mean?
Or out of the Atlantic,
You
sorry.
remember, Nick, what I said about Tampa Bay. I got them marked as a playoff team, but I think they're going to lose that playoff spot to one of those Metro teams. That's what I think. That's what I did tell you.
Yeah, no, and it shows on my predictions because I took the step and had the gumption to make a pick on it, Storky, but I do agree with you. There's a lot of this is interchangeable, and that's why it's so hard to say who's going to be, 6th or 7th. And I will get them to the mailman, the commissioner, so that he can put them on there, so we have them on a for sure list.
I like where you're putting Boston though. I love that.
So we'll move over.
Waylon has Boston winning the whole thing, but that's for another date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get Waylon on, and him and Don Cherry can explain what they did for the last 2 weeks. So moving right along to the Metro, because I know like our deputy here, we're getting long in the tooth here on this podcast. So I'm going to try and move it as fast as possible, but throw me out there if I'm getting a little crazy with these picks. So for the Metro, I got the Hurricanes taking the Metro. And again, we've all talked about it. Ooh. Another well-coached team. They're good. I think that Jimmy doesn't like them, but it's just because he can't beat them.
Well-coached team.
They're just a great team. I think they just eke out the number 2 team, the Rangers. And I know that, the mailman loves the Rags, but they're a good team. They're a good team. Next, I have a shock, and this is going to shock both of you, but I agree with Jimmy. I look at the Caps roster, and I see depth. I see, anger. I see veteran presence, and I think the Caps are going to break through, and they're going to make the playoffs this year again. And it's not going to be squeaking through. The squeaking through teams are the next 2, and Jimmy's not going to like this one. The next team I got making the playoffs is Pittsburgh. I think the kids.
You want to see that playoff series again?
I want to see it, and I think this year, looking at how it felt and how he's been playing the past 2 years, I can see him making it. So that could be phenomenal. It would be absolutely phenomenal.
It would be something, I gotta say.
And I have another team coming out of the Metro, and again, here goes Jimmy. Tell me I'm smoking crap, but I got the Devils playing better, moving in. And I have them, squeaking in. And that's one of those teams that we were talking about, Storky, that, could take the spot of Tampa or could go back and forth. And I think the Devils squeak in.
But that's 9 teams. Did you say Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I did say Pittsburgh.
You got 9 teams making the playoffs.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Who are your 3? You have to have 3 in the Atlantic. Did he say 4, Stork?
I did say 4.
He's got Carolina, Rangers.
Somebody's got to be.
Oh, no, because I have the Devils and the Pens fighting for that spot. I'm sorry.
Oh, I see.
The Devils are not in.
So the Devils would not be in.
So the Devils aren't in, but they're knocking on the door.
Yes.
Sorry.
All right.
Storky. Go ahead, Nick. Who is your President's Trophy winner? I have that written down. I just don't have the slide.
The Oilers. I got Edmonton winning most games. So we'll move over to the Central.
Okay, you didn't even finish the divisions. My bad.
No, you guys are too. You want to make fun of me?
Right now.
I'm pretty sure I won last year.
He's gonna finish them and give them to you so you can list it.
Let me finish. Okay,
Let him finish.
Over in the Central, I got the Avalanche. I have them barely squeaking out, and again, these top 2 teams could be interchangeable. The Avalanche and the Stars are going to go back and forth. I have the Avs, looking at the schedules, I think they have a much easier end of the year where they're going to squeak out those remainder of the points where Dallas has a pretty much tougher schedule. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. After the All-Star break, the Avalanche are going to squeak in for that number 1 spot. Second, I got Dallas. I hate them. I hope that every single one of them would no longer be able to play hockey, and they had beautiful, strong, athletic sons that could never play hockey just because of how much I hate them. But
Wow.
they're a good team, and we can't deny it. So I'll just leave that. Third place, I got the Wild coming through. I'm confident, but I'm not as confident as you guys are. I think we got a lot of young stars. We got a lot of young players that are going to be moving up onto the main roster this year throughout, and I think that that's going to be pivotal. Last year, the injuries killed us, and they stopped our momentum at every turn. So hopefully this year we can stay healthy. I think that the trifecta of goalies that you probably see this year is going to be the Flower in the backup role, and hats off to him. He said this is his last year. He's going to just play his heart out. I think he could play another 5 years. He's so youthful watching him in practice. He doesn't have what he used to have, and that's pretty evident of his wins losses last year. He's going to be backed up by Gustafsson. Again, a great young player. I think is going to be good if he continue to move forward. But you're going to see a lot of interchange between him and Jesper Wallstedt. They need to get their young, rookie and goalie superstar on the ice to get some NHL time.
So Wallstedt's not on the main roster right now?
He will be. Just not right now.
Dang, I drafted him in a league. I'm hoping he is.
No, keep him because he's going to show up.
Well, I have Gustafsson in 2 of my leagues.
Yep, and he's going to start.
I totally forgot about Gus. Crap.
So
I thought he went to another team.
And then the fourth team I got going is not Nashville. I told you, watch out for Winnipeg. They're streaky and they can win in bunches, and they're going to do enough just to make the playoffs.
I will say, player to watch for on that team. Used to play out here for Seattle. He's got Finnish ties. Lane Lambert's nephew, Brad Lambert. Watch out for him to be a breakout star, but his defensive game might need help. Nick, what worries me about that team is their defense, but that's what.
Where's Nashville?
Not on there.
Wow.
But I think they're another bubble team. I don't have as much faith. Milstead, the Jimmy, the commish for 3 years has said that Nashville is going to be a great team. And guess what? Underachievers.
That barn is going to be electric this year, dude.
Jonathan
Marchessault went there. Steve Stamkos, Brady Shea. I forget. There's some other free agent pickups I'm not thinking of right now. UC Saros, read up. They got out the back.
There's only so much ice time.
I'm
just saying.
You got some guy named Stamkos too.
I can't even say his name. Evelyn, he's a young kid. Stork,
yep.
You know how to pronounce his name? Yeah, kids are gonna
just
go ahead. Go ahead.
Mark this timestamp, and we can go through the year. And
we'll go back on our next show.
If I gotta eat,
Evangelista, I think that's his name.
Evangelista.
Oh, Evangelista. Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't spit it out.
I got him on a couple of my teams too.
So if I gotta eat crow, I'll eat crow.
Right on.
But that's just where I have it going. In the Pacific,
we got some tasty crow up here in BC. I'll send you one.
Okay, good.
What about some tasty stork?
Oh, I'm not going there, Jimmy. No sound bites from this guy.
I'll tell you that right now.
So,
oh yeah.
Moving to the Pacific, I got, my President's Trophy winners, the Oilers. I think that they're just, again, a lot of it comes with they went to the final finally. They finally broke through, and they are hungry. And good luck. You think Connor McDavid is normal, all the year. Now give him something that he's been to and he lost. You're going to see a different side. Hungry. You're going to see a different side of Connor McJesus. The next team I got, I hate them too, but Vegas, I think they're just who they are. And I think over the past 4 years, we've seen they just are who they are. So not much to say about that. I think the Oilers are going to come away with that without handily. There's not going to be a tie. I think the closest matchup is going to be for 3 and 4. So the third team I got is the Kings. I think that, we've talked a lot about it, Kamish, about how we enjoy that team, watching them play. They've got some great young players, and The only thing that I don't like, and it's been a little bit longer now, is how they did Jonathan Quick bad. But, I think I'm over it a little bit, and we can move on and just respect them as a good team.
Well, the loss of Drew Doughty to start the season off, man. He's out for a while with that broken ankle. That's a tough break to see. That's gonna be somebody's got to step up.
Yep, and they'll find somebody. I mean, we saw it, and
Grant
so
Clark.
I think they got a lot of young players too that if they have to play patchwork, going down
Mikey
to
Anderson.
down to their farm teams and pull them up. I have faith in them doing that one spot. So, this last team, it was very hard. I went back and forth, and Tim, I'm sorry, buddy, but I got Seattle on the outs. I got the Vancouver Canucks.
Gotta be interesting.
Bringing it through, and making the playoffs. So, there it is. Those are my predictions. I think that it's pretty evident. Let me see. I just want to double check so I don't say anything.
Well, who was your Cup final again?
I got the Panthers, the Rags, the Oilers, and the Wild making it to the Final Four. I'm a homer, guys. I always will be, but I see something in them. They got grit. And then I got the Stanley Cup final, the Rags and the Wild, and I got Wild raising the cup. Yeah. Hey,
I think that's what you had last year, isn't it?
I'm probably. I'm gonna always pick the Wild. I don't care. But I'll tell you my bottom feeders teams. When did I give them to you? I just want to make sure I don't.
I think you had Buffalo, Utah.
Oh yeah, Buffalo's gonna be garbage. Utah's gonna suck.
Unfortunately, Columbus maybe.
I have San Jose, probably the worst team in hockey again this year.
I've actually got Calgary, as you see my slide, but
yeah, I see that. And then Utah, bottom again for everything we've already talked about. I think you guys are high on, or you at least are high on Utah, but you've been wrong every year. So
they're gonna be right there.
And here's another one that's kind of gonna throw you guys a little bit for a loop. I think that the Flyers are gonna be in the bottom of the Metro.
Really?
I think Columbus, even through adversity.
This guy's for real, guys.
Well, that's not going to hurt my feelings at all.
I've seen
I
how
don't like the Flyers either. So
I've seen how Dino can get a team rallied around and get them pushing, and I think Columbus is going to be better than you think.
All right, Nick.
So.
I'll get your slide prepped and official. Sorry, I have your slide. It's just I didn't finish it and I didn't save it as a JPEG to put in here. It's still. But real quick before we move on to us, this is a good prediction category. I always love the Calder is my favorite. There's a ton of we had a ton of Calder candidates last year. It was a great race between Faber, Luke Hughes, and the eventual winner Connor Bedard.
And
this
Rossi.
Year's race,
Marco Rossi.
Great crop last year. There's gonna be even better crop this year, just as good. Just to name a few, let's see what you guys think. Macklin Celebrini was the first overall pick. San Jose Shark. You got Will Smith. He is not going back to BC. He's going to be Celebrini's teammate. Those are just two Sharks right there. A guy that I'm high on, and this is the guy I'm picking to win it, is Logan Stankoven, who's still eligible. He got a lot of playoff activity, but he will be a Calder candidate this year. I'm going to Logan Stankoven, but we got the Michkov. You guys aren't high on the Anaheim Ducks, but they have a tremendous crop over there. You got
oh, I don't doubt that.
Rutger McGroarty in Pittsburgh. Cutter Gauthier. He's going to be a huge one there in Anaheim, guys. There's a couple Ducks I'm not thinking of. Owen Zellweger. He's on defense, but a plethora. Who do you guys have winning the Calder this year? We'll go to Stork first. I'm going Stankoven.
That is possible, but if Celebrini plays the whole year in San Jose, I think he's gonna take it. He's not as good as Bedard, but he's multi-talented. My only concern is he's playing for a rub-dub team, but like you said, he's got a bunch of young players playing around him, so that might help him a little bit. I don't know, but I think they're going to do a lot of losing before they do any winning. But Celebrini, if he plays the whole season in San Jose, I think he has the top honors to win it. Not to say he will win it, but
I've only
certainly puts him in first place.
I only got a glimpse of him at World Junior. I saw one game, and I saw him play for BC or BU when they got ousted in the NCAA last year. I think he's a phenomenal two-way player. So I think overall he's a well-rounded player. So, but Nick, you have any thoughts on the Calder this year? Your boy Brock Faber's not eligible.
Yeah, well, I'm boycotting it. I think celebrating is going to be good, but I will tell you, dark horse, Jesper Wallstedt.
I was going to say,
I'm telling you, everybody thinks
he's
nuts.
Still eligible, huh?
This guy
is
still
eligible. He's still eligible, and I'm telling you, I've watched him in AHL. I've watched him. The guy is insanely good. The 7 goals he let in his first start, he's a rookie. It's hard, but as he got better, 2 shutouts. I mean, he's just watch out.
I'm not going to pick him, but here's another honorable mention. Look out for that Lane Hudson. He's not very big, but I've seen that. I don't know if you saw that pass in training camp, but this guy's getting rave reviews across the league. He's an American playing on the Montreal Canadiens. That building is going to be electric, Stork. Lane
and
Hudson.
You drafted him this year.
I did, because Luke Hughes got hurt, and I had him on. I had to pick somebody up, and it's all going to be based on how they ease him in, because they got the Matheson guy. I think he's the quarterback for the power play. But if Lane Hudson takes over that power play, I haven't been watching the Habs preseason, but look out. He could be the offensive defenseman Calder candidate this year. But I'm gonna play it safe. Logan Stankoven has already got a ton of experience here in the league. And as you can see on my slide, I'm very high on the Dallas Stars, and he's gonna be a big reason. There's a bunch of other rookies that will have mentions here in our league. Like I said, the Michkov kid sounds like he's going to be a huge deal to deal with there with Philly. Go ahead, Nick.
Here's another dark horse for you. I don't know if he's eligible because I don't know if he played too many games, but Marat Hutstadinov, young centerman out of Minnesota. Watch out for him too. I don't think he's eligible though. I think he played too many games.
I thought you said TJ Husmann-Zada.
No. Hutstadinov.
Oh, okay. What is that? Where's he from? Russia?
He's a center, Russia. He led the KHL in goals.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I know I'm missing a lot, but it'll be, I love watching the Calder race all the time, but we'll get to 2 more categories after my picks. I'm just going to race through mine. But we'll have Tim Piper Kelly is not going to join us tonight, guys. He had to help somebody move. We'll get to Tim's picks, Waylon's picks at another point. I know, first offhand, though, Waylon did hit, real quick, Stork, I mentioned to you, he has Boston defeating, I think it was Dallas. I could be wrong, but I remember, it was Florida, right? No, they couldn't do that in the Cup. I think it was Boston versus Dallas. Yeah, but Waylon's high on the Bruins. And then Tim, I'll give him a shout out. He has the Florida Panthers going back to a 3rd straight Cup final, and he has them repeating. He's got them beating this year the Dallas Stars. So, Tim, I know he's going to have a podcast on his courts and fields. I'm sure he'll bring me on. We'll get Kevin Stork on there, hopefully. Nick, you need to go in there and talk about your Minnesota Vikings. But anyways, my picks, as you can see, I'm very high on Stork's Maple Leafs. I had them going far last year. I wasn't sure about their goaltending this year, but I'm very high on Stork's Maple Leafs. I got them winning the division, Stork. Only reason I got Florida in second is I think they're going to have a slow start. I mean, as always, a little Cup hangover. We're going to see how they do without Brandon Montour. I believe, who's the kid? Nate Schmidt, former Capitals. I think it's going to kind of go down a little bit. They're going to take a hit there on the blue line a little bit. Gustav Forsling's still great, but I think a little bit of Cup hangover will be there. Bobrovsky's still Bobrovsky, and the coaching there is going to be still phenomenal. Florida's going to have a great opening night. They open up against Boston, if I'm not mistaken. So they'll be there. It's always tough deciding who's going to be that other Atlantic team. I only went with 4 this year, guys. And this year I'm high on the Red Wings. I think their offense is going to be really They just re-upped on defense, Maurice Sider and Lucas Raymond. I think Lucas Raymond is going to have his best career year. They're going to get in with their offense. The Bruins, they seem to always be there. Big contract holdout, like we said earlier. Jeremy Swayman's on my team. I'm kind of worried about it. But they do got Jonas Korpisalo. They lost Linus Ullmark to the Sens. Korpisalo, if healthy, is a great goaltender. I always count the Bruins out, and they make me look stupid, so I have them going in. Unfortunately, we talked with Stork picks. He has the Lightning in. I have them being one of the first teams out. I just think the loss of Stamkos might hurt. We just lost.
No, I'm still here. Just turn the camera off.
I just think they're going to take a little hit without Stamkos, but Kucherov is going to be phenomenal. Again, putting up a lot of points. I want to be able to say Ottawa and Buffalo are taking the next step, but every time I've said that, they've just disappointed me. I'm not a big Travis Green guy. He's the new coach in Ottawa. I do like their young players, Stützle, Brady Tkachuk. Got to know he's going to make a playoff appearance one of these days. I just have them. They're waiting on their new arena. I think they're going to get one eventually, if not already. I haven't been paying attention to that politics stuff, but I'm actually higher Stork on the Canadians than I am the Buffalo Sabres. I don't know what it is. Buffalo's goaltending. I actually think Sam Mountainball is pretty good in Montreal, and if they're a small team in Montreal, but I think they're going to actually be better than Buffalo this year. So that might be where I'm smoking some crack, but I'm once again high on that Lane Hudson. Cole Caulfield's changed his number to 13 for Johnny Gaudreau. I love that player. A small team, but I think the small head coach, Marty St. Louis, he's going to get them playing. They're going to be there, Stork, but they're obviously not going to make the playoffs. I think it'll be a tight Atlantic. I don't think any of these teams are like straight up garbage, but we'll see. So that's the Atlantic. In the Metro, I also have 4 teams. I have the Rangers, Shesterkin. It all starts with him. I know he's hungry. I hate the Rangers like all you guys, but I still think they have a great team. I think the Devils, if they're healthy, will be right there. They got a goaltender now, Jake Markstrom. I'm not the biggest Markstrom fan, but he is a phenomenal goaltender, and he'll get the wins they needed last year. They got to stay healthy though. Dougie Hamilton is back on the blue line. They've got some great young kids there. Jack Hughes has got to stay healthy though. Nico Hischier probably not talked about enough. I'm happy that he's on my fantasy team this year. He's a great hockey player. I have the Capitals in third. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Jimmy, before you finish, I got to run, boys. It's been absolutely phenomenal. I hate to cut you off in the middle of your picks, Jimmy, but I'll definitely watch back. All right, gentlemen, and the league, have a good night.
Yeah, thanks, Nick, for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon, bro.
Bye, boys.
See you on